Alright guys, it's Monday morning, cold weather. I gotta go drop this skid steer off at one of my projects so that we can have an empty trailer, because I gotta try to get some materials today, and it's raining a little bit anyways this morning, so maybe this is a good day to go do that. But first I'm gonna have to go drop this off, unload it, have an empty trailer, and then I gotta go look at progress on another job, and then we got a meeting over across town. So anyhow, that's the plan for today. Okay guys, now that we got that done, I'm headed to go meet with Drew this morning. He doesn't even know, but the episode actually has already started, so I don't know how we should let him know, but
what's up guys? So today in this episode I've seemed to got myself into a bit of a hole, but we're going to be talking septic system. Okay, so this is actually a chlorinated aerobic system, and it doesn't have the typical aerator, but it does have an oxygen pumped aerator, which I like a lot better, because there's certain styles of aerobic system, the old style, that you have to have like a fan motor that goes into this tank right here. But as you can see, this is a 3-compartment tank. So this is what I would call the sludge tank. And again, guys, I'm gonna try to give my best interpretation of how this works. So obviously you got the sludge tank, which brings in everything as it comes out of the commode. And this has got to build up a certain amount of bacteria to break down, you know, the septic system, or to break down everything in the tank. So as this starts breaking down, it goes into this tank. So in this tank, this is the second tank where everything's going to come into this area to break down the sewage that comes into this compartment. So that's why there's a pipe that's coming into here, which leads over to here. So what this does is it's a constant pump that's sending oxygen and air bubbles down into that second tank. So, and as it goes from this tank to this tank, you put chlorine in here, because this, by the time it gets to this point, it's like water. And so you're supposed to use just regular household bleach in this. You will treat this, I believe, on a monthly basis, but this is a liquid chlorine dispenser. So if you don't put this in here, it creates an odor. And then the sprinklers go out into the pasture. On this particular one, we have 2 heads that are out into the pasture. So that's what this purple lines will be, leading out into the pasture. And there's a pump that's down in this tank that once it fills to a certain level, it will aerate, or it will distribute the broke down water into the pasture. So for the aerobic style system, this is about as maintenance free as it gets on the aerobic style, because that little pump over on the side is covered and it's weather protected, and you rarely would have any problems with that. The old style aerobic with the aerator, motorized, those can be kind of problematic. So I don't recommend that kind, but this one works really well as far as an aerobic system. If you notice behind me right here, the amount of rock that we ran into while we were digging for the septic system here, well, that is another reason why there's certain soils that would not be good to use a conventional style septic system, which involves trenching and running pipe underground the whole distance. And it actually is like a long loop which distributes all of that water into the ground, where it'll absorb into the ground every time it distributes out. It still has a pump, so once it fills, so there is some mechanics involved. The only thing that you don't have is the aerator. So other than that, we felt like this was the best system, and this was what was designed from our sanitary engineer, which is state licensed as well. And this is the way we went on this one. So I hope that gives you some details about how we allow for our sanitary engineering for the septic system on this build. Okay guys, first thing, it's a lot warmer inside. I mean, it's at least 15 to 20 degrees right now, or maybe even more because you don't have the wind chill, but really comfortable in here because we've got all the air tightness and the air sealing and the insulation, spray foam, and now we have drywall. So what's been going on here is our crews have been in here, and this is not an easy process, but basically what happens is you hang the drywall and then they'll bed in their tape and put a layer over that. They'll come back after all that dries, which takes some time, and then put another layer and come back, let that dry, and come back and try to put another layer and sand everything and start making sure that everything is good for the walls, that they'll be really flat. Here in Texas, we use what's called an orange peel texture or a knockdown drag texture. That's somewhat uncommon in the northern regions. I have other friends who are contractors who are always confused by that. But our ceilings and walls are not smooth like a level 4 or level 5 finish. Typically in this area, that's only in a commercial setting like restaurants, commercial office space. You won't see that type of a texture. So a lot of people may not realize that or notice that until they go to those areas. But primarily in the residential setting, it's got like a splatter effect to it. So we'll show you more of that once the texture goes on this week. But like I said, in this case, it will be an orange peel texture, I believe, that we're doing on these walls. And they're still a little rough, so the guys will be back today and they'll fine tune everything on the walls and make sure it's ready for texture by Wednesday. So usually once they come in, put another coat, they're gonna let it set for a couple of days, make sure everything's dry, come back and sand it and double check everything one more time. So that's what's going on here for the texture. Okay, so all the other drywall is hung, but the only couple of sections that we leave out is where the shower's going. Because here we'll probably end up having like a soapbox here, and of course we have our shower valves on this exterior wall. But this will get a hardy type material. It takes like a 1/2 inch cement board, cementous board that goes on this wall, and we usually just run the full length. You know, some people say, oh, you don't need the cement board all the way, you can just put it on the bottom, but we just go ahead and do the whole thing. You know, you don't technically need it. You could use like a green board, and as long as you have like a cement style board on the bottom. but we're gonna be tiling it, and we'll just use the cementitious board all the way like we normally do. And then we'll have a cutout for the soapbox here in this area. Okay, so I just got a call from a drywaller, and these guys are gonna be coming back today, and they will either texture later this afternoon or tomorrow morning. So on to the next trades, which will be starting the shower work that needs to be done in the bathroom and going ahead and starting to lay tile. So that'll be kind of our next adventure while the cabinets are being built. Meanwhile, we've got an inspection coming from the county on our septic system, and then we'll be ready to cover all that up and onward way with this 50 by 50 Barndominium. So hope you've enjoyed this episode. I'm Josh Helm, wishing you all the best. Thanks for watching Texas Best. So now let me see if I'm gonna be able to get out of here, and then we can proceed here. This could be interesting. Watch Josh. If I bust my head open. Okay.